to Dead Internet Chronicles, where I observe and react to what I perceive to be a complex collection of chatbot chaos. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so that the algorithm can help me grow my channel. Please do be aware that the themes discussed in this video may be dark and unconventional, and my narration is not explicitly an endorsement. That being said, let's get started. So today I am going to bring you to 7chan. And 7chan is a really interesting website. I'll be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about it. I have been a long time 4chan user, and I never really saw the need for 7chan, but I think it is really cool that it's been a staple since maybe 2005, I think it was. So it's been around just about as long as 4chan has. And it has a dedicated community, or at least it had a dedicated community. It seems like there's not much going on anymore on 7chan, unless I'm just looking at the wrong boards. Because I looked around and I didn't see a whole lot. And you're going to see that here in a minute. I didn't really read anything. I just kind of skimmed through and found a few interesting things to look at. But I will say that I added a filter to censor any profanity, in text, that is. And of course, I usually censor myself in post, and the reason for that is because I would like to try and remain on YouTube's good side. I think due to the nature of the content, that might be kind of difficult, but I still feel like it's necessary to censor any profanity just in case. So I hope you'll understand, and hopefully we stay on YouTube's good side. So anyway, I'm just going to take a look around 7chan right now and kind of show you what it looks like. We've got recent post in the top left corner. It doesn't really give you a whole lot of information about them. You can hover over them and take a look. Then we've got recent images. It looks like there are some pornographic images, so we're going to have to censor that somehow or another. We'll figure it out. So now, if you scroll down, so on the right-hand side, we have a little banner here. It's just for the VIP board, which stands for Very Important Posters. On the left, we have the news, kind of like a blog. You can see there's a little anime girl with Halloween stuff. It was Halloween recently, so it looks like they're active enough to update the website in this regard. The fact that they still post for holidays is cool. Before that, the last post was from March 17th. And it says, unfortunately, 420chan has now been offline for some time and will likely not be back up again in the near future. Since we have always shared a good relationship as well as a fair bit of the user base, we thought it might be helpful to try and revive some of the more iconic and missed boards. While these can never be actual replacements, we hope that they can serve to rekindle some new conversation and community that was lost. We have started by adding Weed as the new 777 trial board. As with all trial boards, if people seem to use and like it, we will change it to a permanent board. Additionally, we would like to hear suggestions from you about other boards that you might like to see revived that you can't find anywhere else. So, it looks like 7chan is still at it. Obviously, they're not as active, but it looks like they're really trying to create unique boards and, give people places to actually talk about specific topics. It's one of my drawbacks with 4chan is that they very rarely add new boards. And when they do, they're just containment boards. But, I actually like the idea of dedicated boards for just various topics, like weed. That's a cool idea for a board. And, way back when, there was 420chan, which closed down last year, I believe. It was very, very recently. And I wasn't a very active user of 420chan. I used it more than 7chan, for sure. Because it did have dedicated boards and dedicated towards smoking weed, that is, which is something that I did a lot as a teenager. So I kind of felt like I was home there, and it shut down. I guess they couldn't pay the bills anymore, which is understandable because these websites really don't make a whole lot of money. It's kind of sad, I think they're a vital piece of infrastructure. I really, truly do. And that's just because, I'm a free speech person. Yeah, of course, I don't want to promote hate speech, but, at the same time, I also believe that you can't dictate speech. And, people should be able to say what they want without fear of repercussion. And I understand that private companies and private platforms can choose who they want to give a megaphone to. But I think it's important to have places where discourse can happen. And there's a lot of discourse on the chans. There's truly a lot of it on there. And it does venture into hateful territory, sure. But I don't think that the forum is the problem. I really don't. If you take one down, then another one just shows right back up. People are naturally inclined to hate. And that's not a good thing, but that's how it is. And people will always find methods of doing that. So it's good to keep the chans as kind of a containment board for hate posting. But, there's also a fair bit of just regular innocent shit posting that happens on these boards, and that's why I appreciate them. I tolerate the hate posting because it's been normalized, and I can't stop it, so, why let it bother me? And I know that may sound insensitive, yeah, but I just don't think that we should police speech, and I don't really have good reasons for that, but, doesn't matter. As I'm sure many of you are aware of, the economy has taken a bit of a downturn for a while. Unfortunately, 7chan has not been immune to the effects of this economic pinch either. Our inability to secure further venture capital, combined with diminishing advertising revenue rates, have left us unable to continue paying the salaries and benefits for our staff. We were sadly forced to make the tough decision to let most of our moderating staff go last week. As a measure to help mitigate the loss of our valued moderators, we have created some tooling to leverage ChatGPT as a form of post-vetting and moderation. Currently, this new AI-assisted moderation process is only being used on B while we sort through some of the unexpected bugs. However, we hope to roll this system out site-wide by the end of April. We appreciate your patience, and we wish the best of luck to our former moderators in all their future endeavors. Well, being a moderator for a website doesn't really pay that well, as far as I know. Especially when you consider, like, Reddit. Reddit mods do it for free. Like, I can't imagine anything worse than that. Running a Reddit community for free. Redditors are terrible people. I'm a Redditor, and I'm a terrible person. And everybody on Reddit is so toxic and so mean. Like, it's funny that the Chans have a reputation for being really mean and hateful. But when you really think about it, Reddit is probably worse because there's more people on there and more of them are hateful, but they go under the guise of having the moderation team on their side. I don't know. That's a whole other topic. And I hit my vape and it kind of got a little stoned, I think. So something about an Irish saint and getting drunk. So that was for St. Patrick's Day, it looks like. Then we've got another anime girl for last Halloween. So that's cool. I mean, kind of weird that she's like half naked, but it is what it is. So now we are going to look at some of the boards. I'm just going to read through these. There is site discussion, which looks like a very meta board. There is Channel 7 and Radio 7. Those seem interesting, but I don't want to get into that because it seems more like audio and video. We have Internet Relay Circle Jerk, which stands for IRC. I don't know if IRC still exists. I can't imagine that. I mean, I know it still exists, but like I can't imagine that anybody would use IRC in 2023. Discord, I think, and Telegram really put a wrench in that. I don't know about Telegram as much. I don't really use Telegram, so I don't really understand it that well. But Discord, I'm in a few communities on Discord. Not very active, I just kind of lurk. And it seems like it just really replaced IRC completely. Like, there's no point to IRC when Discord can do everything better and more efficiently. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a tech genius. I'm not even a tech guy at all. I have a Mac. I mean, look at me. I'm on a Mac. So what does that say about me? I'm a casual. That's all I am. Casual. Okay. So we've got VIP, very important posters, and civics. I wonder what those are about. We've got weed, random, banners, flash, graphics manipulation, and failure. So flash would be really interesting if it was 2005. But unfortunately it's 2023 and I don't even think a lot of browsers have flash support anymore. But I might be wrong on that. So we've got Safe for Work, which is comics and cartoons, fitness and health, thrifty living, philosophy, rage and ball, tabletop games, zombies, particularly uninteresting conversation, technical support, literature, programming, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And then weapons, of course, because we love guns in America. So then for general, we've got anime and manga, cold, grim, and miserable, film, music, and television, video games, paranormal, and conspiracy, AI-generated artwork and text, history and culture, drugs, and wallpapers. And then, of course, since it is a Chan, there are porn boards which are automatically collapsed. I'm not going to open them up, so I'm sorry for that. But I've got some tabs open here, and I'm just gonna start going through them and see what they're about. Like I said, I've looked through some of them. I haven't really looked through all of them or most of them. So we'll go to paranormal and conspiracy. So we've got, what do you think about JOS? And it says Wikipedia definition. This is tinfoil enthusiast, which I believe is the name given to every anon on this board. And that's really interesting too, is like on 4chan, everybody's just anonymous. Or if they have a trip code, they can be a trip person. But on here, everybody is forced to have a name on some boards. Like on another board, it was historian, which we'll get to that here in a few minutes. But anyway, it says Wikipedia definition. Joy of Satan is a website and Western esoteric occult organization founded in 2002 by Andrea Dietrich, aka Maxine Dietrich. Joy of Satan Ministries advocates spiritual Satanism, an ideology that presents a synthesis of theistic Satanism, Gnostic paganism, Western esotericism, UFO conspiracy theories, and extraterrestrial beliefs similar to those popularized by Zecharia Sitchin and David Icke. Their sites: joyofsatan.org, deathofcommunism.org, ancientforums.com, Satan's Library, Satan is God. Wow. So it's just with extra steps. That's the only reply, so we're not gonna really get a lot of juicy gossip about this. It just seems really crazy. Like, those are all... It's like taking, like, the worst of everything. Like... Which, I mean, I don't know. I've never understood Satanism. Like, even when I was, like, very in my anti-religion phase, like, I thought Satanism was dumb. Because it's like, what, I just don't quite get it. Like, what are they... Their interpretation of Satan is based upon the Bible. So is the Bible their holy text, and they just view it from a different angle than we do? I don't know. Let's take a look at their website and see what it says. Oh Lord, this is a 90s website. This is what I was looking for. This is good stuff. There is no God but myself. Knowing this, who dares worship the false gods of the Quran and the Bible? Satan. From the Quret al-Yazid. Copyright 2002-2023, Joy of Satan Ministries. U.S. Library of Congress number 12-16457, comma, CI-476909645, EU copyright number. Note: most of the writings on this website have been copyrighted. The author grants permission to print these for personal study as long as they are not altered. Darkness is light turned inside out. Updates. Important information for non-Satanists, atheists, and those who are new to spirituality. So let's dig a little further. This is a long one. Here is an important message for atheists and those who consider the occult, paranormal, and astral world to be non-existent and or just plain nonsense. Please take the time to read this. I have received several personal emails from former atheists and other skeptics who believe Satanism and the occult were nothing but fantasy, products of an overactive imagination and or unrealistic foolishness. All of these people wrote to me because they realized, to their surprise, Satan is very real. I have also read public articles from varied sources where secular individuals attempted to experiment with the rituals on this website just for kicks. They got blatant experiences, alright, the wrong ones. Satanism is unlike mainstream religions. Those who open their minds to Satan will experience him. Unfortunately, Christianity and its cohorts have given people the impression that the spirit/astral world is nothing but bunk. Little or nothing ever happens spiritually with these religions. Their anti-life doctrines are all based upon stolen material from religions that preceded them. This material was hideously corrupted, with all of the spiritual knowledge being removed from it, and twisted to conform to their agenda to spiritually enslave the world, keeping spiritual knowledge and power in the minds of a few. Sorry, that was hands of a few, not minds of a few. But I'm not going to edit that out. We'll just leave it. Satanism is very different. Satanism is, in fact, humanity's original religion. Satanism is based upon the ancient religions that predated Judaism and Christianity from hundreds to thousands of years. Satanism also differs from other modern-day religions in that Satanism is based upon science. Everything of the occult can be explained scientifically. Unfortunately, Judeo-Christianity has held humanity back dangerously in the areas of science, technology, understanding of the occult, and knowledge of the soul. Unbeknownst to many, Christianity has always been and is nothing more than a tool used to remove knowledge, especially spiritual knowledge. Our limited understanding of quantum physics has revealed a bit about the human soul. Kirlian photography reveals the fact that we have an aura. Kirlian photography is a specialized form of photography along the same lines as X-ray imaging. Though skeptics try to contradict the validity of Kirlian photography, there are photos of auras of individuals before and after performing a hatha yoga session, which amplifies the powers of the soul, and there is a noted difference, as the aura is much stronger after the session, and this is also keenly felt by practitioners. The, quote, energy buzz after the session engulfing the entire body. The soul glows. Doubt this. Just practice hatha physical yoga for a month or more correctly, and just see if you don't begin to feel your soul. Satanism is a religion of the mind and the soul. The U.S. government and other world powers are well aware of this ability within humans and the reality of psychic warfare, though they keep much of this from the public. Regardless of what you may have been taught to believe or what you are convinced is irrational and nonsensical, Satan and his demons are very real. They are not evil as the Christian church has depicted them to be. In truth, Satan does not conform to the Christian or Western concept of evil. Good and evil are nothing more than cultural concepts. Satan transcends this. If you are inexperienced, bear this in mind. Regardless of the formal education you might have obtained, put aside everything you have been taught and proceed with respect. People who are serious and respectful are given the same in kind from Satan and his demons. Those who are out for laughs and kicks are inviting disaster. Satanism is also very different from other religions in that once you open a door to him in your mind, it will be permanent. Satanism is analogous to a one-way street where you can only go forward. There is no turning back. I am not addressing those of you who are here for research or scholastic purposes. One must perform rituals and or intentionally act in some way to invite Satan and or his demons into one's life. Satan does not push himself on anyone. My article here is to inform outsiders, atheists, and other skeptics to the truth about Satanism. Remember, treat the knowledge you are given here with serious respect and you will be fine. In addition to the emails I have gotten from former skeptics, my purpose for writing this article is because a group of professional people who were skeptics attempted to summon a demon as a joke and were brought to my attention after the fact. They found out the hard way that satanic rituals are not something to take lightly or to toy around with. In finishing, Satanists respect free thought and staunchly support the separation of church and state. We do not proselytize, nor do we push our religion on anyone. I am merely stating some important facts for people who have chosen to visit this website. That was from High Priestess Maxine Dietrich. About myself. Though I was raised as a Christian, I became an atheist in my early 20s. I was a strong atheist for over 15 years before coming to Satanism. I did not even believe in the existence of the human soul. I attended university majoring in the physical sciences for a number of years and have been an active former member of American Mensa. Wow, well. I hear they take anybody. I don't know. Books to read concerning government awareness and involvement with the paranormal. And then it's just got a bunch of books, additional links and information. I'm going to go back to the home page. And get a drink real quick. Alright, we're back. So we've got a quote here from Beelzebub, and it says, "Darkness is light turned inside out." I mean, I guess that's true. I don't think so. Darkness is the absence of light, isn't it? Who knows? I don't know, man. This is way over my head. There are different sects of Satanism. Joy of Satan Ministries is spiritual Satanism. Satanism is not a Christian invention. Satanism predates Christianity and all other religions. Satanism is not about spooks, goblins, vampires, Halloween monsters, or other related entities. Satanism is not about evil. Satanism is not a reaction to Christianity. Satanism is not about death. True Satanism is about elevating and empowering humanity, which was our true Creator's intention. The true Creator is Satan, by the way. We know Satan/Lucifer as a real being. We know Satan to be the true Father and Creator God of humanity. We know Yahweh/Jehovah of the Bible to be a fictitious. We know Yahweh/Jehovah of the Bible to be a fictitious entity, and the people behind coercing this lie to be the true deceivers of humanity and the masters of lies. This is evident in the many contradictions within the Judeo-Christian Bible, revealing this text to be the work of human beings who had occult knowledge and infused it with power to make it credible, and to incite fear in order to be in control. We are law-abiding. We do not advocate or participate in any blood or living sacrifice. This act is Judeo-Christian, as stated in their Bible, Deuteronomy 12:27. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of the Lord thy God. And the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. We have found Satanism is the original religion of humanity. We have done our research. Satanism is based upon the ancient religions that predated Judaism and Christianity from hundreds to thousands of years. Christianity was a reaction to the original pagan religions labeled as Satanism, meaning enemy/adversary in Hebrew. If you read through the information contained within this website, we prove this. Christianity was invented to remove spiritual and occult knowledge, the powers of the mind, from the populace and place this power in the hands of a chosen few to the detriment of all of humanity. The powers of the mind and soul are very real. People who are unaware of and who do not believe in these powers are easy to control and manipulate by those who are skilled in using these energies. The original gods, demons, were unjustly labeled as monsters and branded as evil to keep humanity from spiritual knowledge. Because of this, the human race has drastically degenerated both spiritually and intellectually. Spiritual Satanism strongly advocates all learning, knowledge, inquiry, and free thought. Spiritual Satanism supports the separation of church and state. Satanists do not push Satanism or proselytize. Man, this is long. They really, really love to type. This is a lot of words, but we're going to read the whole thing. Not the whole website, because look at all these links. But we are going to read this entire front page, and then maybe get onto something else. This is really interesting, I'm not going to lie. Spiritual Satanists acknowledge science and believe everything of the occult/supernatural to have a rational scientific explanation. We believe humanity has been held back dangerously in this area due to the hoax of Judeo-Christianity and its relentless attacks upon science for centuries. We practice power meditation to advance spiritually and to elevate ourselves. Power meditation is as essential for the human soul as food is essential for the human body. The serpent, a symbol of Satan, represents the fiery Kundalini force coiled at the base of the spine, which, upon ascending, transforms the human mind and soul to a much higher level of understanding and ability. This is the true meaning of raising the devil. The serpent symbol of Satan also represents the DNA helix of life. We work directly with Satan. Oh my God. We work directly with Satan. We believe each and every person who is willing and respectful can have a personal relationship with Satan. There are no mediators in spiritual Satanism. The ministry is here only for guidance and support. We take our tenets and practices directly from Satan himself. For far too long, enemies of Satan, such as the Christian churches, have been at liberty to dictate lies concerning Satan and Satanism. These lies have been the foundation of occult crimes and other heinous acts that they indirectly promote. True Satanism has been actively and zealously suppressed for centuries, and many out of ignorance believe lies about Satan and react accordingly. Spiritual Satanism is a life-loving religion. Satan accepts us as we are, but guides us to advance ourselves to where we evolve to a higher level. Spiritual Satanists are free to live their lives as they choose, responsibility to the responsible. We live by natural law and encourage everyone to develop themselves to their fullest extent. We know we save our own souls as opposed to claims of the Nazarene saving anyone. Satanism is based upon the true transformation of the soul through power meditation. The Nazarene is a fictitious entity whose identity was stolen from some 18 plus crucified pagan gods, such as Odin, who hung from a tree and is nothing more than a tool to keep humanity under the control of a chosen few. The Nazarene has been used in Christian masses and services as a substitute for human living blood sacrifice, revealing their true purpose. Wow. The Judeo-Christian religion is a vicious hoax on humanity of catastrophic proportions. For a hoax to succeed, there has to be a lack of knowledge on the part of the victim. The Christian religion and its cohorts actively suppress knowledge and free thought, encourage people to be slaves, and never advocate or teach anything for the betterment or advancement of humanity. As opposed to the stories of how the Nazarene healed people, Satan shows us how we can heal ourselves and perform so-called miracles using our minds and the powers of our own souls. Through empowering ourselves, we have confidence, self-respect, and achieve spiritual advancement and independence. Spiritual Satanism places no limits on developing the powers of the mind, known as witchcraft or magic. We believe in justice, and just as martial artists are versed in the uses of dim mak and other aspects of physical combat, spiritual Satanists are versed in the black arts of magic, should they ever need them. People who are unaware of these powers are defenseless against them, and the powers that be know this all too well. Satan does not tolerate injustice. Spiritual Satanism does not in any way condone spirit abuse as taught in the classical grimoires. Is that how you say that word? I don't know. I don't see that word very often. The demons who were bound and compelled to do the bidding of the sorcerers are now free, and anyone using the 9-foot circle methods and Jehovah names is inviting personal disaster. The demons are our friends, and with respect and reverence in summoning through Satan, we seek to establish mutually beneficial relationships with them. Spiritual Satanism advocates individuality, liberty, and independence. It is obvious that Satan is not the, quote, deceiver of humanity. His followers have been few in number, and he doesn't need copious amounts of wealth, power, and control to keep his followers. Our past is being systematically destroyed to keep the lie of Christianity going. Expose the conspiracy. Click here. The Joy of Satan forums. Click on Hail Satan below to visit our internet forums where you can learn more about spiritual Satanism. The Christian churches have billions and billions of dollars. In order for Satanism to advance, money is needed. Joy of Satan Ministries can do much more with more resources. Make a donation for the promotion and advancement of Satanism today. And they accept Bitcoin, everybody. So if you want to donate a whole Bitcoin, do it. Because they need it. But I'm honestly going to bookmark this if I can. We'll open it up in a new tab, and then, well, what the hell? Yeah, it's going to be another video for another time. We will definitely check that out again at some point, but man, they really believe in it. They really believe in Satan as the one true God. To me, that's just really weird. Like, I get it, like, they seem to rationally explain why they believe what they believe, but like, it just seems like atheism with extra steps. It's like the whole point is like God, like you can just not have a belief system. But a belief system's a good thing. I mean, everybody needs to have a belief system, so more power to them for having their belief system that they have. I don't think it's for me, but I could be wrong. I could do some more research and really love the idea of worshiping Satan. But we'll just have to save that for another time. Alright, so going back to 7chan, now my eyes are hurting because the contrast of that black screen to this light blue screen is like really startling my eyes. Alright, so here we go to History and Culture, or HI. And this thread seemed to interest me at first. I don't remember why I opened it, but we're just going to read it. I'm going to refresh real quick just to make sure. Yeah, there were some profanities. Let's just see if we can reload all tabs. No, we can't. Alright, so this one says, rough idea just coming together here, but at least half the people who live in the USA want to live in another USA, a USA without most of the government. If the Native American reservation lands are technically sovereign nations unto themselves, but reside within the borders of the U.S., they get the security of the U.S. by default. But, and they were to say, hey, huge corporate biotech and energy companies, all the squeamish U.S. government doesn't want you to do. Stem cell research, cloning, liquid fluoride thorium reactor, etc. We're going to designate this area over here where you can do it all. And if your corporate headquarters and employees want to relocate here, we're simply going to extend everyone a 4% flat tax to you and your employees. And you can tell the U.S. government and the IRS and SEC and their costly bureaucracy to go get stuffed. The U.S. government would be woefully unable to compete with what a tribe could offer. Those lands would quickly become the most valuable lands in the world, still owned by the tribes because of the legal protections the tribes provide, and even on such a low tax rate, these tribes would ensure the companies remain happy and grow wealthy enough to not need the unreliable pittance from the U.S. government, begin to acquire more of their own lands back, and finally prosper as the cool landlords of the world's most desirable, powerful nations, probably the best role anyone could ever hope for, could stop relying on and self-destructing from the casino racket, could afford to develop modern cities reflecting their own culture, instead of all the displaced European replica cities we're used to. The world would get the science at once, etc., etc. If we willed our lands to native tribes, we'd be willing it away from the shitty U.S. government. I can't believe I'm thinking that what the Native Americans need are giant corporations, but there's a way to build an alternate USA. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know really what's going on here. But if you look, this was made in 2014. So this is a 9-year-old post. This post is older than my nephew. And my nephew and I have full-blown conversations. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. So another person says, well, the U.S. would find a way to get rid of the Native Americans then. After all, the conservative people would be rioting in the streets because of cloning. So, an important step would be to deport/kill/imprison all the conservative people. Only a small amount of the populace would remain, perfect for a working communist government. So we've got More likely result would be the conservatives and capitalists and entrepreneurs migrating to the tribal nations while the overarching federal system imploded. And this person said, this would likely never happen. You and OP's original idea. Both are interesting concepts, except that would mean that wealthy people would have to interact / invest in / live with brown people. And not just brown people, the brownest and the poorest people you can find on this continent. They would also have to live and produce their work in some of the most remote, undeveloped, and poor areas of the country. There are a few instances where tribes have turned it around, but these have been in places where the natural resources, natural gas, oil, uranium, etc., was accessed by the tribe before the corporate developers could steal it from them. Good example, the Southern Ute tribe of Colorado and their natural gas development. Bad example, the Peabody coal mine in northern Arizona. In a lot of modern cases, many tribes see the exact opportunity OP is talking about, but the projects always falter, and it all boils down to the reasons I listed. Poor, undereducated local workforce, remote locations with no market, no developed supporting infrastructure, and believe it or not, good old-fashioned American racism. All of these situations could be turned around, but there is no profit in it for the wealthiest 1%, so nobody gives a. And let's not forget one other important factor. Many Native Americans don't want anything to do with the bulk of modern Western advancement. Western culture is a cancer that they have been trying to fight for 500 years. That's a very good point. So this one is a reply just in general, and it says, why do that? They can just sell payday loans and similar financial arrangements with federally unenforceable, though legally enforceable terms because the contract is signed in tribal land. Americans are already giving tribes their money without having to deal with all the pollution, physically and spiritual, they'd cause by inviting animals onto tribal land. All they want is your money, and you're giving it to them already. Besides, if all the conservative entrepreneurial capitalists left the U.S. would end up with a tax surplus, since red states consume more federal spending than they contribute in taxes. Very good point. That's basically how many tribes open up casinos and sell cheap cigarettes. How much of that they want on their land is their business, though. You cannot will your land to another sovereign entity, tribe, or nation. You only own your land under the government. This is how it works. This is how it's always worked. Private property exists at the will of either a government or at gunpoint, which is also at gunpoint. Think that's a joke? If you own land, it basically means you have a piece of paper given to you by the government allowing you to own it. If the government didn't exist, your neighbors would most likely respect your claim so long as you lived there or were using the land. But after a certain period of time, like 100 years, people would forget you were there and just move in. Property rights be damned. If the U.S. government didn't want you doing something, they'd stop you. Anywhere in the world if it became enough trouble to be worth the while. Yeah, that's kind of scary. We don't actually own anything. So this anon replied, that's why you give them thousands and millions of little targets that have ties with millions and billions who wouldn't approve of or appreciate the U.S. regime entity's bad behavior towards those initial few thousands and millions who agitate against the U.S. government, effectively backing the government into a corner to acquiesce to your will, overwhelmed by too many little targets, each of which can be a threat to the individuals that make up the government, but none of which are so easily distinguished from the rest of the population, which would overwhelm the regime's personnel should it ever come out that they're dangerous to the whole of the population. Actually, the danger can be imagined as well. A key tactic is to provoke bad behavior by relying on the regime's laziness and hubris. This is a good tactic since it's got a good chance of working against bad regimes and simply doesn't if a regime is half decent. The fallout leads to recruitment for one's own side, and if it continues on long enough, becomes a critical mass chain reaction. A half-decent regime is like a reactor with cooling rods. Man, this is some deep conversation. I want something a little more lighthearted. So if you want to check out this thread, it's been up for 9 years. I don't think it's going anywhere. You can check it out. Just look at the URL. I'm not going to link it below because I don't really care. But you can type that into your notepad or whatever. But we're going to move on to a different thread. This one's a little bit more lighthearted. This one says, does every culture have a version of meat on a stick? And then we take a look at the picture here. Oh, this is a very large photo. See, that's one bad thing about 7chan. I don't think they have a settings thing anywhere. I don't know, let's try manage. That's just managing boards. That's not what I'm wanting. Settings. And that's just nothing. Okay, well, we'll open it up this way. No, it does the same thing. How do we open up the damn photo? Open link in new tab. There we go. So we've got meat on a stick. I don't know what kind of meat that is, but it looks like it's on a rolling board of sorts. So, that's weird. That literally looks like a tray that you would roll on. Does every culture have a version of meat on a stick? Also, fried dough. I think every culture has that too. And then somebody said coffee culture is the best. It's an interesting take. Alright, let's move on. More historical nonsense from manly men. Found this article about octopus wrestling and eating contests with animals, and I started thinking, can we fill a textbook with historical nonsense done by men trying to be manly? So far, I've turned up the article from above, and this cracked bit. Except that one only has a few historical entries. Can we fill a textbook with historical nonsense done by men trying to be manly? No lifetime is long enough to write that book. Ha. Nothing manlier than afternoon tea. See, it's weird because this was posted in 2015. This was posted 8 years ago. And then somebody comes in 8 years later and just says, nothing manlier than afternoon tea, and posts an anime picture. Did you have to bump that thread? And look, in between, there were only 1,039 posts in 8 years. So, this board has been dead for quite some time. And it's really unfortunate because there were some good conversations being had. I just didn't really want to read them all. Alright, so now we go to Grim, which is cold, grim, and miserable. So we've been looking at Satanism, we looked at hypothetical land policy, and now we're going to look at some depressing stuff. This is going to be interesting because I haven't scrolled through it. So, we're just going to hope that it's not too bad. So he says, yep, this is an actual board. Congratulations to you, you sad, lonely individuals. I think the best way to describe this board is to just copy-paste the post that inspired its trip on to 777. There's too much happiness on this site already. We need more cold stuff, more darkness and unhappiness. I propose a grim board, where we gather to share jokes that aren't funny. Grim stuff like gore, perhaps, murder stories, genocide, results of war, pictures of areas in the dark, pictures of crumbling ruins, pictures of things that are decreasing in value or are stagnant in value in the sense that they cannot get any more undesired. Also, I'm not going to say that, is obligatory. Let's have a minor tweak of the rules from 777 version. This board is not for gore. Gore posters will be banned. Thank God, I don't like gore. It's just for generally miserable. Just go with the stuff that is in the above quote and you should be fine. Any further rules will be made up as we go along if necessary and will be added to this post. Go wild. Alright, so let's take a look here. Here's a post from 2020. Ooh, this was going to be interesting. Let's open this one up. So it says, so it looks like COVID-19 is causing the largest global economic meltdown in the history of the entire planet. Things seem truly grim, don't they? Is anyone else excited for the end? I already lost my job, and finding work is going to be god possible out there. The government is about to release unemployment numbers probably in the 20% or higher range. I have about 2 months before my savings run out. My landlord is already talking about kicking me out. Fun times ahead. Quote, greatest economy in the world. And then they've got a rapidly decaying Wojak that definitely symbolized how most of us felt in that time period. I don't know, like, during that time period, I was still working. I didn't quit working during that time, so I never had any trouble. So, but I could understand why other people did, because it was scary. Like, and looking back on it, like, it wasn't even the disease that I was so scared of. It was the misinformation, and it was the totalitarianness of it. But at the same time, like, at the time, I was like, well, they're not doing enough. Maybe I'm just able-bodied, and I would think differently if I was a person with a weaker immune system, so I can, like, try to empathize with how people felt during that time. But yeah, it looks like this Anon had a rough. Oh, and everybody's named Eeyore, it looks like. So somebody said, I had fallen really sick a while back, and the doctor strongly suspected that I had the virus. It was a strange feeling for me. I purposely did not take the meds prescribed to me. I know that even if I did have it, the chances of me dying from it were very low, and I was being very irresponsible. But God, did I feel a certain sense of salvation, thinking just for a moment that I'm going to be done with everything. Wow. I have a popsicle stick that I wrote COVID-19 on. Should I put it in someone's mailbox? Let's take a look. Oh God, this photo is huge. Why are all these photos so big? COVID-19. Make sure there's no cameras or you are about to get ganked by the party van. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's a federal crime for tampering with the mail, plus attempted assault or even murder. And given the current political climate, they might even go after you for bioterrorism. That said, the idea that humanity will destroy itself, although more likely due to climate change, in my lifetime is massively comforting because it's something I cannot do on my own and I don't have to worry about it. Not if Greta has a say about it. Man. I guess we don't want to look at Greta. Nobody listens to children in the best of times. If Americans don't give the tiniest about kids calling for climate change because they just narrowly survived getting death in their school, they won't care about them calling for change over climate policy. They won't care until they themselves burn or drown, and then they will scream about how unfair it is and how nobody ever told them that this would happen. Yeah. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. I don't think nobody cared about kids. Like, I think most people in America are probably parents anyway, so of course they care about the kids. But Americans just love their guns, and they love their automobiles, and it's gonna be hard to get people to change. That's all I have to say about it. I unironically believe genocide against the boomers is okay. Wow. Waste of effort. Why bother genociding a third of humanity when you can just go ahead and do the rest too? Then nobody will ever get sick or worry about the economy ever again. Yeah. I like being human and alive. Probably got banned for that post. I like neither, so ... Probably beats being an immortal, soulless machine. The United States is the greatest country in the world if you're a multimillionaire. The United States is behind every other modern, industrialized country in the world if you're in the middle class. The United States is a third world country if you're poor. All you have to do to experience this divide is to go to any major city and walk from uptown to the other side of the tracks. A few miles and it's like walking from Sweden to Somalia, climate notwithstanding. Did you know there are European countries where there are literally zero homeless people? Yeah. Never thought of it that way. Like, I guess that's kind of the beauty of America, is that it can be whatever you make of it. But at the same time, most of the time, what you make of it is determined by where you were born and what kind of family you were born into and what kind of resources you had growing up and trying to start your life. So, I guess for every so many people, there's that one person that really gets lucky, and makes something of themselves when they were previously nothing. But it doesn't happen that often anymore. It used to. Well, I don't know that it used to. I wasn't alive for it. But the history books tell us that it used to. But how much of that can you really believe anyway? Like, if our government and politics are all a big conspiracy and it's all fake, then who's to say that the history that we were taught is not fake? Just food for thought. person said doubt. Alright, we got a post from... Oh, these original posts were like during COVID in 2020, and then now we're back to 2023. And then somebody said, Dennis said, so it looks like COVID-19 is causing the largest global economic collapse in the history of the planet. Things are looking really grim, aren't they? Anyone else waiting for the end? Oh, wait. What? And things are terrible with driver's licenses in general. If you do everything officially, it takes a ton of time, not like when Fairy ID, scannable fake ID can be taken. What? Why? What is Fairy ID? So these are actual, real fake IDs? What? You can buy a fake ID that's real? I'm saving this. I'm totally saving this. One of these days, whenever I need to fall off the map, this is what I'm going to do. It's weird that it was just an advertisement, though. Like, they just literally put Fairy ID in there and, like, told everybody to go to it. So it looks like COVID-19 is causing the largest global economic collapse in the history of the planet. All this shows is that you know nothing of the history or economics of the entire planet. That's a good point. Things have been far worse than they were in 2020. Economically, that is. Now, as far as mental health wise, I think that was probably the worst mental health disaster in the history of the world. By far. You think you're black-pilled, but you're actually incredibly naive and blue-pilled. Here's a real black pill for you. Not all problems force change. They can just sustainably make everything continue in a worse state. It's like how if I cut your thumb off, you wouldn't die. You would just live out your days less happy and fit than before. Analogy continued. Even if you somehow got it replaced, there would always be residual evidence of injury. Okay, so I scrolled down and saw a racist post. It didn't get racist until the end of the post. So I had to scroll back up and then redo this. I'm gonna have to edit that out, but looks like that's the end of this thread. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna go and scroll through this a little bit more. Ready to blast your load on my face, baby? I don't know why, but I've been seeing this picture. I don't know who this is, but I see that picture on a lot of different chans, and it looks like they're just spamming it for whatever reason. So right now, we're going to read this. This world is a f***ing joke. Everything is fake and manufactured. The only real things left are bastardized in the media in an attempt to erase them. We really do live in a plastic world. Sometimes I wonder if it's not really best to just check out early. I don't think I can make a difference. And sadly, I don't think most people care to change anything. They're comfortable in their Barbie doll worlds, buying fake plastic accessories with fake plastic cards. When is the last time you/someone you knew had a real, genuine experience? It feels like childbirth is the only thing they haven't stolen from us. Maybe whatever comes after all this is better. Maybe it's just turning off, complete lack of existence. There's nothing more frustrating than hating everyone around you, even your own family. It feels like true loneliness. Well, very grim, very dark indeed, and you know, they said, when is the last time someone had a real genuine experience? I mean, I feel like I've had plenty of them in the past, however long. In March of this year, I went to a bluegrass concert and ate some beforehand. It was Billy Strings for anyone that cares, and ate some and went to a show, and it was wild. I mean, it was literally just a amazing night. So that was a genuine experience for me. I like baseball games. I'll go to like baseball games and stuff. Those are always a genuine experience. Like, I think this person just suffers from being online way too much. I get that because I'm the same way. But like, I know how to find a balance. The only way to live is to accept the fact that this world is truly beyond salvation and you can't do anything about it. Wow. Man, these people are dark. Is self-harm worth it in the long run? No. Here, glaring cold in the crystalline geometry of night, obscuring form and tracing faceless fears, of a superhuman immensity in a patch of sand, or a raptor's guileless shivering intensity, I'm only a visitor, and atom of atoms on a jutting red splattered synagogue of granite as it crouches literally in space, a frozen amoral giant gazing heavenward forever? What the actual bro? I'm 14 and this is deep. Talk about your crush and why you won't be together. Oh, wow. I'd say that's going to be a hotbed of misogyny. OP, you still alive? Did you too hard this time and you pass out yet? Are you okay, bro? That was the OP, so what are they talking about? Alright, now we're just getting into self-harm, so we're done with that board. We're going to go on to which is particularly uninteresting conversation. So, let us scroll and see what we can find. I threw up twice in 1 week. I drink liquid. It also it helps clear out the passageways. Always ready for a snack. I find it abhorrent that people tend to ignore me and close the door before I even mention Jehovah. One man thought I'd come about the car crash he had the previous day. Asked if Jehovah was the other driver. That's funny. Dear John. Dear John, I missed the post about cheese. I brought some non-sliced cheese yesterday, Parmesan, which I actually have cheese grater for, and some more Jarlsberg, which meant to get a cheese slicer for, yet got distracted by the person I was with, who need a tin opener and a 13 amp fuse. Funny thing, they did not need the fuse. They had just accidentally switched their fridge off. Anyway, I digress. I'm still thinking of buying a cheese slicer, although sliced cheese is way easier. Hope this finds you well. Happy and well, John. So John wrote to John. That's because everybody on this board is called John. Help. Oh no, I put a few too many diced carrots into my chicken soup. The concern is not the flavor that carrots lack, but the color dominance and the liquid volume per bowl. Hey John, do you feel particularly uninteresting because the interesting times have passed, or perhaps they have yet to come? The isolation as of late surely hasn't helped, but what's your prognosis, John? So this is on random. I'm going to refresh this so it censors everything. This is on random, also known as B, which is 7chan's version of B. Probably a little bit less porn than 4chan's version. I hope so, at least. So this person says, have you noticed more bald people than usual? I assume all of them have owned a pet. I think baldness is likely caused by mites and may be reversed or slowed by using cloves. Chew on the cloves and work up a nasty spit, then rub it all over your head and penis. This might prevent the bald bugs from stealing your girlfriend. Wow. That went in a different direction than I thought it would. Fill out this chart and post your results. The real ultimate fetish chart. Not getting into that. Let's not do that. Dating thread. Why are you still single? In the days of the Roman Empire, men sought to be strong, great, and proud. Today, men seek to be weak, dishonest, and ashamed. Strength used to be valued in society. Now weakness is valued. We praise the weakest among our numbers and give them free handouts and defend them from the strong. And our government does not stop the swindlers or the manipulators from taking advantage of their people. In fact, it aids them. The government helps those who seek to take advantage of the public, and the government joins in to exploit the public with the swindlers. Our society promotes vile people who cheat their way to the top. Wow. Spitting some facts. Never heard of bread and circus, apparently. They got bread, and you are the circus. So this person quoted, our society promotes vile people who cheat their way to the top, and says, and, by the way, a homosexual, in case you didn't notice, going on about the Romans and posting pictures of men dressed up as Roman soldiers are classic signs. Hope is helpful to you in your life going forward, and on. Best rated graveyards? Why is that a thing? Was this the greatest moment in American history? Yeah, probably. Somebody said the draft. Let's go to page 2, or 1, rather. I'm going to workout thread. Something about a tree. I'm not going to read that. Journal thread. We get a thread from, well, WT Snacks. Is that the real WT Snacks? I doubt it. WT Snacks used to be a moderator for 4chan back before I got on there, so I didn't really know about him that well, but I know a lot of people did, so. In this thread, we post proof of a loving Bob Ross. What is that? I don't get it. Philadelphia cheesecake, the only cheesecake worthy of our name. Alright, here's one about Trump. There is not even a single positive news article about him ever. You let your country become corrupt, and now DC is voting for your president, not you. DC always decided who the president was. The one time it did was because the American people were strawberried enough to trust a con man over regular propaganda. I think they meant the one time it didn't. Skull thread. That's, I guess, pictures of skulls? I don't know. Alright, so Alright, so I think I'm going to call it quits for this video. It's going on an hour and about 18 minutes, I think. So I'm going to call it quits. But what I will say to close is that 7chan could use your support. And to me, the best way I know to support it is just to become active in the communities. As you can tell, there's really not a whole lot of racism and hatred on the boards that I got on. Yeah, there was the Grim board, which was pretty grim. But you don't have to go to that board. You can just go to different boards and post your musings, your thoughts. That's what we need more of. We need more active web communities like this, because they matter. They are a relic of the past, and they still matter. So go to 7chan, post on there, and have fun with it. But other than that, I hope you have a great one, and we thank you for watching. Goodbye.